Is this your internal monologue afterwards? You're going, why? Amy spoke about the contraceptive pill and how she's allergic to dairy and it had dairy in it, and no doctor decided to tell her that until she came off it, and she could have died.
I think we should have a Sad Girls Club trip to Ireland.
Oh no, that'd be quite fun. Turkey dinosaurs?
Yeah, I'm vegetarian, but if you're,
A vegetarian
if there's
turkey
a
dinosaur.
legume paste.
Oh, hello, friends, and welcome to the Sad Girls Club podcast. Woo! Have you been chucked? Patriarchy getting you down? Cry behind your pal Amy's garage and ruin the New Year's party again? Well, you're in luck because you're in the Sad Girls Club and you can cry about the big things, the small things, whatever you want. So we might as well get started.
Yeah.
Today I'm here. I'm Hannah Elizabeth Morton, your host. Did I get my name wrong? No, I did. I got it right. I mumbled it. But it's fine. And we are here with
Emma McDougall.
and we have a lovely guest today. We have
Kieran Hodgson.
Woo! You
Welcome,
panicked about your
Kieran.
own name. It's funny.
Always.
Oh,
yeah.
you're like, who am
and
I?
also, do I include the middle? But then,
What's your middle name?
Well, no, for reasons of personal security and data protection, I'd rather keep that to myself. Thank you.
We were doing this the other. I was hosting my friend's hen do the other day, so I was playing like party games and stuff with them, and I did a quiz, and the first question was like, "What is Emily's full name?" And everybody panicked and was pure. Oh, there must be an Elizabeth in there, or a Louise, or a Marie, or something. And no, she's just got a first name and a second name.
Me too.
And
Yeah, it happens.
really threw some people. Are you just Emma McDougall?
I'm just Emma McDougall.
See, I'm Hannah Elizabeth Peyton Morton.
Where's the Peyton come from?
That is my father's mother's maiden name.
Oh, cute.
And so he's Robert Peyton Morton, and then I'm Hannah Elizabeth Peyton Morton.
Nice.
Yeah, just thought
Any
I'd...
identity thieves out there, feel free to be making a note
I
of
know,
your
it's like,
significant answers.
what is your mother's maiden
Yeah.
name?
What is your
Like-
date of birth, Hannah?
Exactly. I do reveal far too much about
What was
myself.
your first pet's name?
I know, you'll never know until I reveal it in the next podcast.
That would be a fun podcast, actually. Yeah. First pet names with Hannah Morton.
And then it's like the next one's like, what is everybody's birthday?
Yes.
And like you just have to maybe
Tell us about your place of birth.
maybe that's how I get like more ratings, is like I'm waiting for them to try and steal my identity, and I'll just like leak it throughout all of the episodes.
That's the hook.
That's
Yeah, it keeps
There's
people
no
coming
other
back for
hooks.
next week. Yeah.
So, Kieran, you are new to the Sad Girls Club. Welcome. We start every meeting, every podcast, with asking you what you're sad about this week. Kieran, do you want to go first, or is that too much pressure?
I'll go first.
Yeah,
Why
what
not?
you sad about this week? Have you cried? Have you cried in a big Tesco or anything like that?
I haven't cried. I tend not to cry. I tend to gaze wistfully. And I did a lot of wistful gazing over the weekend because I let the side down.
With the side down?
Let the side down.
Which side?
My mum and dad's side.
No.
So I was back in my hometown to do a gig last weekend. Mum and dad were away on holiday, so they gave me the run of the house. And for various practical reasons, where I grew up is quite sort of rural, so it was handy for me to have the use of their car for the weekend. They put me on the insurance. Lovely. I drive the car one night, fine. The next morning, pootling about. And let's just say I make a minor but reprehensible error of judgment in a parking maneuver.
No.
And it doesn't involve any other drivers, thank heavens. But I'm a little bit cavalier with a curb, and
Oh no.
and I go and look, and I've not got away with it. There it is, you know.
Oh.
What is it, like a scrape?
A scrape on like the bottom left-hand corner, and
That's not the worst.
it's not the worst.
Oh, and it's not your car though, Hannah.
Yeah,
You're
no,
like,
that's
But
true.
it's not my car. I've not had like any incident with a car in like 15 years. Like I pride myself on being a very
your
good
no
driver.
claims bonus is
All
through the roof.
that, my parents really trust me, and
Not
it just
anymore.
felt so. I just couldn't believe it. Like it was one of those split-second decisions. I could have just gone a bit further along, found another car parking space, but instead I thought, no, I'll go for it. Why? I'm 36 years old. Like, why did that sort of swagger come in at that
Is this,
point.
is this your internal monologue afterwards? You're going, why? Why did I do this?
Yeah, and it was, fortunately it was relatively small, but it could have, these little grazes and things, they cost hundreds of pounds sometimes to repair for the sake of a second, just not thinking.
So are you going to pay for that, or is mum and dad going to pay for that?
Do
they know about it?
They do know about it. So
I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how it got there.
I couldn't try and rely on my parents' degrading eyesight to get me out of it. So I did fess up, but I waited till I got safely back to my living room in Glasgow, and I composed a groveling message to them, which did say, "I'm
you
very
didn't even
sorry."
phone them?
No, too scared. Too scared because I've seen my dad.
Yeah, who are you most scared of?
Things have happened to the car, and he's a little bit,
Is mum's fine, but dad?
I think mum. Well, the jury's still out on the long term of this, but they did ring me shortly after receiving my message, and Dad said, "Well, we're just laughing, Kieran, because we don't care at all."
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'd sent them photographs, and in the photographs, it was clear that it was not a minor. It was a minor thing. And they were just like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's fine. We know a guy in the village who will sort it."
Did you pose next to it, being like,
So sorry.
It's just all very
sorry.
Oh my God, what is it?
Look at my sad face.
But it just felt like the sadness of letting people who trusted me down.
the guilt?
That's
not
that's
angry,
a conversation.
they're just disappointed.
That's what I feel like you've had the mum and dad conversation without your mum and dad being there, of them being like, "We're not angry at you. We're just disappointed."
Yeah, it's all of those, and you're replaying every infraction from your childhood and all of the hard conversations that you had to have when you'd accidentally thrown dad's tax return in the river, for example.
Random.
Yeah,
like, who
because
would
he
do
said
that?
it was when I was a little kid, and we were just walking from the car park to the post office, and I live in a village with a little river through it, and we're walking over the bridge, and Dad had entrusted me with the important letter containing, I think maybe it was a tax return, it was definitely
It was an
of
important
financial
document.
significance. And
It was your inheritance.
we were just walking across the bridge, and I was like, "Wee, poo sticks!"
Yeah, funny.
And off it went, and just the look of, why have you done that?
And you said you were 36 when the car thing happened. Were you 32 when?
Yeah, this was 6 months ago.
Yeah. No, I do that, especially you know my mother very well. I realise I actually haven't introduced you, but I'll do
I was
that in a
gonna
minute.
say also
I know,
the
but I'll be
Kieran is
fine.
also
People know.
the first man we have had on the
Yes,
show.
There's a man in here. Obviously,
We'll
apart
get to
from,
that in a minute. It's how exciting.
Producer Paul. Producer Paul's.
Oh,
allowed
producer
in.
Paul's here,
Yes.
but he's not on.
But
Maybe.
you are Kieran Hodgson. You are star of Two Doors Down. The Prince.
The star. Actually.
The
Yeah,
star.
I
There's
can't think
no
of
one
anyone else.
else.
Anyone else?
No
Who's Alex
big
Norton?
names. You're also the star of the Prince Andrew musical, which is a fun one, and Twitter sensation, I would say. Occasionally. I mean, they're pretty good. None of our stuff's going fucking viral.
Just that one clip of Amy talking about Suzette, is it?
Yeah, Amy spoke about the contraceptive pill and how she's allergic to dairy, and it had dairy in it, and no doctor decided to tell her that until she came off it, and she could have died.
Crumbs.
And that's getting some numbers.
I mean
clip.
that is news to me.
Yeah, exactly. You're not on
understandably so. That's all right.
You're like, glad it came off that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously you are in Two Doors Down. That is how, and I'm using my Nepo baby-ness for my personal gain for once.
Yes, but we've known one another for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
so it's all
but
right.
that is the
Separate
joining factor.
connection.
Is
Yes,
my mother's in Two
originally.
Doors Down. There was a point to that. Where was I going? Oh no, that's it. So I do that thing of like, when I get things wrong as a 30-year-old woman, I'll be like, I can't tell my mum, because she, like, there was a vague phrase in our house when I was growing up of not many people knew about like neurodiverse children or anything like that. They were just like, Hannah walks a bit funny.
Hannah's a bit spicy.
Hannah's a bit weird. And so I'm not very good with dates and birthdays, and I forget, and like all this sort of, I do everything on a week-to-week basis pretty much. That's how my brain works. And so when I forgot something or didn't do something or bought the wrong size for my mum's top for Christmas, it'd be like, that's such a Hannah thing to do. And it's they don't mean they think it was fun.
They think it's what an adorable.
Oh, look at her go!
How quirky!
How quirky is
That's
she?
just Hannah.
But it's in here. So sometimes when I'm like, oh no, I've really fucked up, or like, oh, like I dropped that, or like, oh, I forgot about that. I'm like, my mother can never know. I'll never let
Because
her know.
what it creates is like the dictionary definition. You go to the dictionary and under Hannah it says someone who messes up and gets something wrong.
Yeah, like, oh Jesus Christ, I'm trying my best.
So when you're being your most yourself is when you're
like,
messing things up the worst. Yeah.
wrong. I'm like, great. Emma, what you said about this week? You don't have to go too big if you don't want to.
No. I wasn't feeling too well.
Yeah.
And then I went to the doctors, and turns out I've got low iron.
Oh, that's
So
not good.
Wee bit sad about that.
Yeah, no,
I need
that
to-
would make me sad.
I need to take some folic acid.
Yeah. Is that the age we're at now?
Spinach and Guinness and
But
a few
yeah, so
steaks.
is there iron in Guinness? Is that what you said? No.
So I'm led to believe by the
I love
ancient law.
You said it there, and then the first sign of a question, you were like, "No, I'm out. I don't know the answer."
Well, I don't know the legalities, and I'm also aware that Guinness is quite a big corporation, so they might
like,
come
how
after me with
dare
everything they've got.
I think we should have a Sad Girls Club trip to Ireland.
Oh no, that'd be quite fun.
And go to the Guinness.
and we'll be like
the Guinness Gallery? That's not what it is.
like Kieran Hodgson said.
He
There's
says.
loads of
Full
iron
of
in
iron.
this. Yeah.
I mean,
Great.
you make
Well, there's
help.
famous posters from Yore which say Guinness is good for you.
Oh really?
Yeah,
It is like a full meal, to be honest.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a meaty pint.
Yeah.
I would not recommend anyone with an iron deficiency.
No, Sad Girls Club do not.
This is
taking
not an
Guinness,
endorsement.
But were
not endorse
I
this
in a personal
statement.
capacity to have an iron deficiency, I would reach for the Guinness straight away to cheer
Might
myself up, if not.
Yeah, just feel like, oh, meh.
We'll get you on the Guinness.
Yeah, so, but yeah, and so I got my bloods taken, but I got it through a letter.
Oh, what? They
You're
just
like,
sent you a letter?
Hi, Emma. You have some sort of anemia.
Great.
We've got a wee prescription waiting for you.
Oh, well, at least there's
Take some
that.
folic acid. And they shouted at me for not eating my green veg.
Oh, well,
They were like, you can increase this by having broccoli, green beans, and peas.
Emma does eat like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Of like everything needs to be like sort of beige.
Yes.
Chicken nuggets, chips.
Chicken nuggets, chips.
We
To be
have
fair,
white bread
I am a
sandwich.
bit of a foodie now. I do like going and trying different
Oh,
types
that's
of
good.
chips.
different cuisines,
Yeah.
but can't beat chicken nuggets and chips.
No, that is a point.
We have a thing in our household called silly tea.
What's a silly tea?
Silly tea is exactly what you've described. Is one day a week where, or maybe once every few weeks.
Why
I
do
should
I
say,
love this?
Where we're just like, let's stop pretending that we're
Adults.
and competent members of the human race, and let's just go to the freezer section of the Tesco down the road and get
A
chips
silly
and
tea.
peas and beans and whatever
beans. Oh.
item in a lattice
Happy
they are
pieces.
selling. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and just indulge in that.
Turkey dinosaurs?
Yeah, I'm vegetarian, but if you're, if
vegetarian
there's
turkey
a
dinosaur.
legume paste dinosaur out there, then
Here, a corn
go for
chicken
it.
nugget is maybe one of the
Right.
best inventions
yes, they
ever.
do a great nugget.
I would reach for a corn nugget over a normal nugget. They're the
Silly
best.
tea. I'm coining that phrase.
Silly
thank you, Kieran.
tea.
That's
Let's go have a silly tea.
so much fun.
Ideally, at 5:45, so that you can eat it in time for The Simpsons to be on.
Yes.
On Sky One.
Are you sitting on the
7
floor
o'clock.
while
Yeah,
you're eating it? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I'm sad about this week. Happy sad, but it's also mixed with anxiety. Kieran, I got a cat. You love a
Welcome to the cat.
She's a cat mom now.
cat. Her name is Lady.
Lady.
Yes, because
And it only took 20 minutes into the podcast for Hannah to say her first pet's name.
whoops. I've had other pets.
You've had other pets, you have.
No, her name is Lady, and we got her. She's a Gumtree cat. We were going to try and get like a shelter cat,
From
but
Cats Protection
you have
thing,
to
yeah.
fucking interview the cats. And
Yes,
you have to.
you do.
Oh, it's like
And have you got outside space?
no, it's going
Because
to
a
be a
lot
house
of them,
cat.
on
Mhm,
the
mhm.
listings for the protection.
Yeah, so I
Needing
went
outdoor
to like a
space.
sort of dogs and cats place like years ago, and they literally were like, "How many fucking cats do you want?" Like they were forcing cats on me as I was leaving. Like on purpose, put a kitten in my hand and was like, "Do you want it?" And then so I was like, "Oh, easy, we'll do that again."
Oh, no, they're very responsible.
No, after COVID, they were like, oh, we did realise that it was like a bit nicer for the cat. And I understand it's nicer for the cats that people aren't coming in and stressing them out and stuff like that. But I was like, I just want to peruse the cats.
Yeah, you want to do the sort of the death row shopping trip, right? Where you walk up and down.
Which
and
one
you
of these
see-
will we make sure doesn't get put down?
Yeah,
Pretty
exactly.
much. I'm saving that cat. But then it was like, oh, you need to go on the website and put in a
Oh,
form.
no, website. Boo.
But sometimes I'm old that way that I just want to talk to someone on the phone. And they're like, have you tried our website? Go to the website, fill out a form, and then we'll get back to you. And then there's this is the horrifying bit. So it's like, you interview a cat. If you like the cat, you can take the cat. My issue was like, what if I don't know the cat? Like, what if I don't bond with the cat? And then they were like, oh yeah, to fix that, because that is an issue, there's a 2-week grace period where you can bring the cat back.
Yeah, cooling off.
I'm like, that's horrible.
Probation.
Like, I feel like even if that cat was like ruining my life, I'd be like, I can't.
I'll make this work.
I
As soon
can't
as you've
take it
taken
back.
it through
You
your
can't- you
door,
can-
it's yours.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You can't do that with babies.
No.
Could you imagine?
Oh, but
I don't
if-
want this
if
one.
we could.
But that's so we've got little lady. She's a gumtree cat. We went to a farm. There was maybe 47 cats like in these. It was
good
like
Lord.
somebody's farm, and she just was like, "Oh yeah, pick this one up." Blah blah blah. Lady was the only one that wasn't mental. Like they were all
Yes.
like climbing up you and stuff like that. And she's just a cute little tabby cat. And then no, that really
She's
actually
just a
makes me
baby.
sad. Is she was like, yeah, no one wants tabbies. No one wants tabbies or black
Why?
cats. They want ragdolls. Yeah.
Do you have a rag dog?
Oh, yeah.
There was 2 ragdolls, and David was like, "Oh my god, these are
Or just wandering around.
like I think they were like hers
In a farm,
but there
okay.
was like one that she was like willing to like sell, and then
This whole setup sounds...
it was good. It was class.
yeah, very dodgy.
I've never really been allergic to cats, but I did come back being like, maybe I'm allergic to Lady. But I went, no, I sort of face planted 60 cats all at once. Like, so if you're not allergic, you're fucking allergic now. But yeah, the ragdolls were like going around like David's shoes, and he was like, oh, look at this one. And I was like, David, do you know how much money a ragdoll is? I don't want to ask you how much you paid for your cat. But
It's a substantial investment.
yes.
Yeah,
So we paid for Lady, we paid £250.
solid.
And yeah, so this is my reaction. My dad and David were per, what? £250 for a cat?
I
People
didn't think
give them
cats-
away. Like,
I didn't think cats were that expensive.
Go to Greece, you can just pick them up off the street.
But I was like, David, how did you get your cat? And he was like, somebody in the house and estate had a cat who had cats. We got a cat. And then our cat had cats. We then gave cats. Like he was
Yeah.
like, no one was buying cats.
Look, it's all about, I mean, everything relates, doesn't it, to your economic and social position and the expectations that you have for things, and you know, there's no judgment attached to that. Like when you get a cat, it could be there's no change in the level of love,
No.
where it comes from and how, but at the same time, I did want a cat that was, you know, vaccinated and chipped and litter trained and neutered and everything like that, and a very nice lady in Clydebank was able to provide it.
Was it in her gaff in her house?
Yes, a lovely place, and yeah, we went round, and I don't know, did you feel, because I've yet to hear the sadness.
No.
in what you said.
Yes. Hold on.
But for me, it was that feeling of, we went round to visit the cat a month before we got it, just to kind of say hi and
Yeah.
make sure everything was, you know, okay.
Above board.
Above board, exactly,
Yes.
which of course it
It's
was.
not a kitten farm
Yes.
that I went to.
I was going to say, how do we feel about puppy farms?
I know,
Kitten farms?
exactly.
Oh, they existed.
But then you go on the day and you just get given it.
Yeah.
They don't like ask to see your credentials or make you do a hazard perception test or anything like that. They just, there it is.
Uh-huh.
And then we had the little car and we put it in the little box and off we drove. And the whole way back from Clydebank to Glasgow, this poor little
She
creature
cried.
was just going,
So that's
what a monster you feel. when
yeah.
you
So
do that.
I had a whole existential crisis. So we got her home. She was silent the whole time, no cries, no nothing, which I think I was expecting because I've had crazy cats before. And then we got her back and we sort of set everything up. Our litter tray's in our bathroom. So then we were like, oh, we'll set everything up in there and blah, blah, blah. She would not move from like the bed that she was in. And then like, so I was like feeding, oh my God, I'm going to cry. I was feeding her like in her little, it's like a little covered bed that she's got, and I was like putting the food in there and she wouldn't come out, and I had to leave for work the next day, and I was like, oh, I cried on the train. I love crying
There's
on the train.
photographic evidence.
I cried on the train because I was like, what if she doesn't love me because I'm the monster that took her away from her mother? And I was just like, oh my God. And then like, what have we done? Like, we now have a child, and like, what if that child doesn't love you back? And like, I was a mess, and I was so stressed.
Can you get postnatal depressions for cats?
Maybe it's happened. And then like she hadn't used the litter tray yet, and I was really stressed about that because I was like, she'll be really distressed if she does the toilet in her bed because they don't like that. And then I got to work and David texted me being like, there's officially been pee in the litter
Splashed
tray,
out.
and I was like, yes. Announced it to my whole office. Everybody was very happy. But I'm just like, I love her. I'm so sad because I love her so much, and it's only been 3 days, and she's now out and about. She's like a bit fucking mental now. She's chewing on fucking cables and things like that.
How
You
young
did
is
pick
she?
the quiet
She's
one.
8 weeks,
Oh, right, okay.
so she's like a
Very,
kitten.
very young, yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I'm sad about.
But now a cat mum.
I know. What's your cat
Congratulations.
called?
Callahan.
Calla.
What a name.
Wait, that's from something, is it not?
Legally Blonde?
No.
Oh, yes, that guy. The guy who plays Thomas Andrews in Titanic. No, the Prime Minister, Jim Callahan.
Oh, of course. So
A big
for
old
anyone
cat of a
who
man.
for anyone who doesn't know, Kieran, yes, comedy genius, Two Doors Down star, big fucking nerd.
Are you a
Kieran.
nerd?
Like, but like a
Sorry.
political nerd.
Oh, I'm a nerd in various directions.
Yeah. So you're
But
like
that's one of
Doctor
them.
Who. Or
I
is
mean,
that just
you
like what
name
you've
it.
been attached
Trains,
to?
Doctor Who.
Yeah, the train
your favourite
took me
doctor?
by surprise.
Politics. Sorry?
Go.
Who's your favourite doctor?
Ooh, how long have you got?
Well, you
would make
you
a
do
great
You do the
doctor.
sort of David
'cause I'm
Tennant
too much
thing
like
quite a
David
lot.
Tennant. Yeah, that's exactly. It's a curse. And I thought maybe there'd be enough time after his departure for me to then, build up my career, and then they wouldn't mind so much that someone who looked like him came back, and then he himself had to come
Yeah,
back.
how fucking dare you?
So that's sunk now.
I feel like you could also potentially do, not that you look a lot like Matt Smith, but you could do a Matt Smith.
Oh my God,
style
you are
doctor.
if Matt Smith and David Tennant had a baby?
Yeah.
Yes, if the regeneration got stuck halfway in
We could do
between.
that. We could make it happen.
They could have
BBC, make it
Russell,
happen.
if you're listening, make it happen. I know Shooty's very fit, but
Oh my God, the sexiest fucking doctor I've ever came
far
across.
too sexy.
I was watching it the
Yeah.
whole time being like, oh my God.
It's ludicrous. It's yeah.
Doctors usually quite sexless. in
Yes.
general. Apart, I don't get me wrong, I fancied David
I
Tennant.
was going to say, I have fancied a few doctors in my time.
Yeah, but they're not overtly doing that.
They have a sort of gnomic charm.
Yeah.
There's something about them.
But whereas Shitty is literally just like,
Sex on legs.
like I'm pure. Who made this decision? Like, it's great.
And a
I'm
whole
on board.
gay man, right?
Yeah, a gay doctor. It's like, oh, the BBC's went woke. What's happening? Like, that's what they'll be saying in the comment section.
And he's Scottish as well.
Yes, he is Scottish. Yeah, ticking all the boxes.
Dundonian?
I think a girl
Let's
that I
fact
worked
check.
with at the festival went to school with him in Edinburgh, but I don't know where he's actually from. Because Edinburgh's one of those places that, like, you could go to the fancy school. You could be busted.
Which one? Yeah.
The many fancy schools. I know. Oh, interesting. But yeah, you're a big nerd.
And yes, I decided to name my cat after a former prime minister. I was trying to get two cats and call the other one Wilson, and then Wilson and Callahan would be wandering around together. But alas, cat number 2 was vetoed by the husband.
But that's everybody thought when I've been saying our name's Lady, and it was just because I kept being like, "Come on, little lady," like I kept like calling her that, and then so I was like, that's just sort of stuck. But then everybody was like, "Oh, we really thought you were going to go for like a geeky, gothy, sci-fi name."
Bella.
I know
Neo.
it could have been Bella and Edward if I got two.
If you have listened to the podcast, Kieran, you will know that Hannah frequently talks about
I do
Twilight.
talk about
Okay.
Twilight quite a lot.
So I'm very surprised that
Um,
she didn't call her cat Bella.
Yeah, no,
I've
we
been
were.
to Forks
Have
in
you?
Washington State. Yeah.
Shut up. Is it as bad as everybody says it is?
It's really cool because, I mean, I was there nearly 10 years ago, but everything was Twilight themed, like down to the bowling alley, down to the Mexican restaurant where you could have like Edward's bloody burrito.
I love that.
That sounds dirty.
Yeah.
Well, because there's been oh my God, we're back on this. There's been a renaissance of Twilight. So it's like the girls who loved it in the first place and then got shamed for liking it.
Okay.
Now are when, yeah, no, it is shit, but I still fucking like it. I'm like 30 now and
Yeah,
I'm
and they're
allowed.
all like running the Bank of England now.
Yeah, they're like, I can like what I fucking like. So it's like on TikTok and stuff like that, there's loads of girls who will just go and have like girl holidays there, and they'll like on purpose be like, this is so shit, but the best thing I've ever been to.
It's,
like,
yeah.
there's like a museum. Did you go to the
they-
museum?
It's a one-horse town.
Yeah.
That has really done its level best.
Really
to,
went for
to
it.
Make the most of this, strange bounty that has landed from on high.
I adore that. I need to go. Okay, I'll make it happen.
I sidetracked you. Sorry, you were
Yeah,
saying that
sorry.
your friends thought that you were going to call your cat something.
Oh no,
gothy.
yeah, no, and then we were gonna for ages we were gonna do Jones from Predator.
Alien.
Thank you. But that's like a ginger cat,
Yes.
and she didn't look like a Jones. So then we were
A
like, no.
Jones.
A Jones.
Jones.
I know. So Lady is her
Lady.
name. But anyway, off the cat topic. But I could talk about cats all day if we wanted
Oh, but
to.
I really get that. I really get that. What have we done? And in particular, there's a special kind of sadness which comes from your kindness not being understood by the thing that you're trying to be kind
You're
to.
just because like sometimes she does get under things that you can't be under there. There's cables, and you have to like grab her and
Scoop
pull
her
her
out.
out, and she must be like, "What the fuck is
Why?
happening?"
Yeah.
Or like terrified. We're like big massive things next to her.
Your love not being understood. It's of Mice and Men, isn't it? When he crushes the rabbits because he loves them so
I know,
much.
I
See,
just
people
love
are
you
calling
so
you a
much.
nerd. I would say clever.
Yeah, very clever.
I mean,
Very clever.
Mice and Men, very much the GCSE reading list, but thank you.
I didn't read it. I was in the dumb class. But yeah, so we're here with Kieran today, and so usually we do a little theme. But the theme's just going to be Kieran. And so we're just going to chit chat. That's
Woo-hoo.
pretty much what we've been doing anyway.
Well, it's exciting because you are the first man we have had on the podcast.
Yes.
Hello.
I know.
So-
But this is it. I did contact the men that I have contacted to be like, would you like to come on the podcast?
I've said I would never violate that all-female space.
And I'm like,
And any man who does is a
no, but I contacted like
monster.
good sad girl energy men, if that makes any sense. And I say that with the best intentions for you. Yeah, you're like, interesting.
Well, we're 20 minutes in now. I hope I'm living up to that.
Yes, 100%. You've literally you've
Aspiration.
quoted Mice and Men and spoke about your cat the whole time. And Twilight. Fucking class.
Phew.
Tick, tick, tick.
Tick, tick, tick.
No, so obviously I did a wee Google search of you, Kieran.
They're the monsters. Yes.
Because I was like, oh, like there's things that I know about you, but maybe like I don't know everything and like blah, blah, blah. And the funniest thing that came up to my mind was on your IMDb. So there's like Two Doors Down, Prince Andrew the musical.
The Flash.
Yes! Oh my God, yes!
Yeah.
And the third one is Kieran Hodgson, The Flash. No picture of you in The Flash. Have I seen... I'm letting the side down. I've not seen The Flash.
Right, so I went to see The Flash for
Would you-
one reason
What?
and one reason only.
What? To see Kieran Hodgson?
For two reasons only. One, see Kieran Hodgson. Michael Keaton
Oh,
Yep.
yes.
Making his return
making his return because he,
to the DC universe.
and I'll die on this hill, he is the Batman. He is Batman.
But was it...
Adam West close second.
Did you clock Kieran Hodgson in it? Because I had to do some digging to see what character you were.
Were you in the coffee shop?
Yes. You're looking
Well
at Sandwich
done.
Guy.
You're
in
looking
the
at Sandwich
flesh. Yeah.
Hey, gold star for me.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Because I
Yeah.
literally was like... Because I don't think it even said looking at Sandwich Guy. It just said Sandwich Guy.
Sandwich Guy.
And I
Yeah.
was like-
He was Sandwich Guy in the script and Sandwich Guy. He remained on the credits.
So what
What was
happened
that
there?
like?
Tell us. Tell us everything.
Did you get to meet Michael Keaton?
I didn't get to meet Michael Keaton.
Wow.
I did get to meet the now at least partially
Infamous.
disgraced
Yes.
Ezra Miller.
Ezra, yeah.
Uh,
Now, remind me, he's not the one that eats people.
No. That's Army Hammer.
That's Army Hammer.
yeah. Arnie?
Danger,
Arnie?
legal minefield. Danger, legal minefield.
No, no. It's fine. I remember. Carry on.
Yeah.
There are various
Various issues.
interesting arrest warrants out for Ezra Miller
just
in
not very
various
nice.
states. There's
During
a
the
fun
filming?
geographical range. No, not during. After.
It was after.
Because it was filmed in the way of these big things in 2021, and then it wasn't released until 2023. And all sorts of things delayed the release. I think there was a COVID outbreak among the computer animators. So
Oh,
that
great.
pushed everything back by 6 months. And then Ezra Miller had a number of meltdowns, which I think led to various question marks for the studio about how to market and release the film. And in the
Yes.
end, they did so basically without Ezra Miller as part of it. I think
Which
Ezra Miller
is-
turned up to the premiere but didn't answer any questions from the press, and then their name was not on the poster. So it was just
Shut up.
So it was just the Flash with the image of Ezra Miller in costume as the Flash, but not Ezra
Yeah.
Miller in the Flash.
So this now keeps happening. I think since him,
He was in Harry Potter as well, wasn't he?
he was in the newer one.
Yeah, yeah, like the
Barebone
Fantastic
and
Beasts.
Yes.
Right, I know
Fantastic Beasts,
exactly
yes.
who we're talking about. Not a nice
Um,
person, by the sound of it.
No, but I think it keeps happening. Like Marvel, DC, they go like, yeah, we're doing it. We're doing
Put it
these
all
big
on
movies.
majors.
Put it all on these people, and
Yeah.
then they like within the 6 months before the movie comes out, they completely fuck their like reputation, and
Silly,
they
silly
do
people.
bad things, and they are bad people, and like you're just honestly. You must be like the head of Disney, like obviously DC something else, but like holding their head, being like, "Can someone just
What
be
makes me
normal?"
sad-
Like,
What makes me really sad is that obviously they were filming Batgirl in Glasgow.
yes,
Brendan Fraser was living here for...
she's a big fan.
Big fan of Brendan. And did I meet him once? No. Was it in the restaurant that he was eating in?
What restaurant was he in?
He was in one in the West End, and then I remember sitting having lunch, dinner with my friend Jess, and she was like, "This was the restaurant Brendan Fraser was in." And I was like, He's not here now.
Why have you told me
That's
this?
why you told me that. It's no
Yeah.
use to me.
I get a lot of that with Queen Victoria around Glasgow.
This is the restaurant that she
Yeah.
was eating in. But yeah, and then they just scrapped it.
They scrapped the whole thing
Yeah,
for
the whole
tax
thing.
reasons.
Was it for tax reasons?
Was it a tax write-off? Do you think?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think it was because it was going to be more trouble and risk for them, again, legal minefield, to, I
In my
believe some
opinion.
people hypothesized at the time that the rationale might have been that it was less fuss for Warner Brothers to just
Scrap
can the film, put it as a loss on their annual, income profit loss statement, rather than go through marketing, distributing, releasing the film, and hoping that it would make the budget back.
Oh, fast.
So they spent all that time making that movie.
Nothing came of
and
it.
no one will ever see it.
We'll see. Eventually, there'll be like
Unlike
a,
The Flash, which they decided they'd
They
spent
went for
so
it.
much money on that
How do you
they had
find
to release it in the end.
When, like, for the likes of The Flash, World War Z,
oh the Glasgow
Batman.
filming.
Like,
Was the Flash filmed here?
Yes.
yeah. There's
Oh, that
they
makes
literally...
I honestly, my head was like, Kieran must have been like, they're flying him out. They're doing all this to
Oh,
be
no.
like sandwich guy.
Sandwich Guys scenes were in Watford.
Oh,
And then they did some second unit action stuff up here in Glasgow. In the opening big kind of action sequence, there's a thing where he is, the Flash is running,
Zooming. Yeah, of
zooming
course,
around.
that's what he does.
And Batman comes in and zooms around as well. And, round the back of the city chambers, there's kind of
archways.
and a little alleyway back between two buildings. They did
John
that.
Street or something.
Yes,
they use
exactly.
that for quite a lot of things.
Yes.
They use that, but what they did in the film, and I was sitting weirdly in a cinema in Turin of all places watching it. They digitally just replicated that like 50 times. So he's
like
just
he's, like,
running down
running.
like, "Shoo, shoo, shoo, shoo," like, you're just sitting
at
there
one point you
chuckling
do
away, going,
see-
"That's tight. That's just round the back of the seat."
But it's like when you live in Glasgow, you live in the place that it's filmed. You say, "Oh, there's George Square."
Oh yeah.
Oh, Queen Street.
Pause. Projectors. Pause.
That's why like pretty much World War Z probably had like
All the
like,
extras were Glaswegian.
Uh-huh. I was in 6th year when it was getting filmed, and our drama class was allowed to come in and like look at it or something. We literally like came in, sort of stood around, and then went, okay, great, well, we'll go home now.
I had this my whole childhood because the village where I grew up in, where the parking is hazardous, was where they
Some may say.
filmed beloved old person sitcom Last of the Summer Wine, if you ever saw that.
Is there a lot of bus tours?
There's still bus tour still going. You can still go to Sid's Cafe, and in the Wrinkle Stocking Tea Room where I was on Sunday, they still have all the pictures of the cast, signed photos and everything from the cast. And then there's a program called Where the Heart Is, which was
Do you know that? I don't know that.
I'm slightly older than
Yeah,
you.
which
okay,
was
that's
in the
fine.
next valley over, and then if you were good in like the school drama club, then you got
Get in.
a day being an extra on Where the Heart Is, which was
Very
which was fun.
good.
So,
Is-
yeah, there's a
would
lot
you
of that.
say the Flash movie is the weirdest acting job that you've done?
Oh no,
No, have you
Tell
done
us
some
about your weirdest
because
one.
not the weirdest. It was
Me and Emma do a lot of like, we talk about this quite a lot on the show of like, we being unemployed actors, you do a lot of random stuff
Oh,
to
totally.
do what you want to do and things like that. So we have ended up doing like some weird.
Well, I think
Stuff.
the weirdest acting job I've done, I was
Oh, I know what story
I was
you're gonna
at
tell.
Mentos.
Oh wait,
I was-
no, that's not the story.
I was in a
thought you were
Mentos sponsorship before Jeremy Kyle in the mornings.
okay.
so it was like-
those little idents. The Jeremy Kyle Show is
It's
brought to you by
Mentos. So that was me, right? So obviously the local newspaper was like, "Oh, local girl in Mentos advert,"
That's
right?
great.
And I remember my drama teacher at the time was like, "Be careful because papers can twist things, so just be careful what you say." And I was
You're
like,
like,
"Yeah,
I
okay,
hate
yeah, sure."
Mentos, is what she said.
No, the paper said local girl was on Jeremy Kyle.
Oh,
I was not on Jeremy Kyle. I was on an ident
That would
before.
be a news story.
that's so good.
So yeah,
I know.
but
What
that's the weirdest one I did. What did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say the secret taxi one that you did, which
Oh, yeah,
sounds like a porno, but it's not.
I was set up on a hidden camera show by my agent.
Oh,
Yeah. It was like
Did you get paid?
I did. I
Okay,
did.
well there we go.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You actually, for anyone, you do get paid if you get on hidden camera shows because they pay you for your time. Just to
Right.
be like, sorry. And it was really funny because they drove me around Glasgow and then I got out and they were like, here's, I think it was 80 quid for a taxi home. And I went, I'm going to go get the train.
Yeah.
Thank
I'm gonna go get
you.
the train.
Keep the change,
And
you
then
filthy
if
animal.
they use your footage, they phone you up again just to be like, are we allowed to use your footage? If so, we'll send you a check in the mail.
What's the shtick of the secret taxi? Is the taxi driver particularly racist or
No,
like-
More
he's
racist than
just
usual.
Yeah.
Like-
bizarre. So, for
Okay.
example, he was talking to me about an elephant that got a peanut stuck up its nose, and
It wasn't the best show. I'm
It,
gonna
it
say.
only
I have
ever had
seen-
one season.
I've seen the footage. It wasn't the best.
And he gets out the car
they
and he
tried.
starts crying. So I'm like, get back in the car. It's so good. And I think the reason they kept me on it was because I was so nice.
Right.
Like I didn't get angry. I was like, oh no, just get in. But I thought I was going to an audition. My agent says it's a big production company. They're actually going to send a taxi to take
And the
you
taxi was
to your
the
audition.
and
I'd
the
be
job.
really upset that I didn't get the fucking audition.
But
though.
and yeah, what was meant to be like, I was a big production company that had produced like a Disney film or something. So me being a Disney queen, I was like, oh my god, I could be the next Belle. Oh my god, no.
And they were probably hoping that you really wanting this audition would make you quite testy and impatient. as a
Yeah,
taxi
well,
driver,
he
right.
did try to get me to phone the producer or the casting agent to be like, tell her we've crashed. Tell her I broke my leg and we're waiting on an ambulance. I'm like, I ain't lying.
No,
to
I wouldn't
any-
be fucking doing
no,
that.
No.
So, I mean, through the medium of this hidden camera TV show, you've basically been a shining example of
Yes.
the best of humanity.
Yes.
Wonderful.
That's very good.
That's great.
Have I gotten any more jobs from it? No, I haven't.
No, exactly.
Maybe
Sorry,
we should-
but what? Kieran,
yeah,
what
what's
is your
your
one? If you can think that out of your plethora of jobs, it's a hard one. I know I've
I
put
can
you
tell
on
you
the
the
spot.
weirdest audition I've ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for that.
What was it for?
Oh my goodness me.
Legal Minefield. Can we actually get a soundbite of you saying Legal Minefield
just
Legal
play it.
Minefield. I think everyone involved in this is
that we
long
can
since,
play at any point during the
you know.
podcast in the
given up.
future?
It was a short film about a guy who was losing his sight, but he was an artist and he was sort of, dealing with this, wrestling with this. A dramatic role, which I don't usually go up for good reason. And it had a scene in it, heavens above, and the stage directions were, he's painting, but it becomes increasingly difficult for him to see what he is painting, to see the canvas in front of him. He grows more and more frustrated with this. He starts swearing uncontrollably, and then swearing operatically. He starts singing in an opera-style voice, swear words. He stamps up and down the room, swearing and singing in a high operatic style, and it's beautiful and liberating.
Can you
And
do
this
that
was the audition?
right now?
Yeah, and this was the audition scene.
No, I hate that. See when they're like, and I auditioned for like a zombie thing or something like that in my fucking bedroom that I have to film it in. And they were like, yeah, and then she picks up the gun and she has to, I'm like, anything that
Picking
should
up
have
a
a prop
hairdryer,
in
like,
it
pew,
Yeah.
pew, pew.
should not be in the self-tape, should not be
I
like in the
completely agree.
audition. If they're
Was
like,
this a self-tape or was it in...
This was in front of me.
oh
This was
God.
in front- and I did it, and I
Can you
went.
give us a little snippet?
I mean, I went operatic. I went Ride of the Valkyrie. So I was like going,
You're an educated man.
yes, I was like, wankety shit. And I did it, and I was, committing to the bit. And then I got to the end having, it's one of those things where you
Put
got to
your
give it a
heart
go.
and
If
soul
you're,
into it.
if you're going to give it a go, you have to go for it. And they looked at me, they were smirking. And I was like, what did you want? If you make someone do this, and they're like, okay.
Oh, I
that's,
fucking
it's
hate
been
that.
great to meet you. And I was like, what did, like, please let me sit in on what other people are doing
Yes,
with, this,
yeah.
with this thing.
I even find this, but like,
yeah.
I did a panto audition last year. I haven't done a panto audition in fucking ages, and I'm not particularly a singer, but I'm a performer.
A performer,
And so I was like, oh, and it was like an ugly sister or something like that, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll go in. And I was like, literally, it says, and see when they say this, they're lying. They go, just want to see if you can hold a tune. And then the girl in front of you is belted out fucking Let It Go beautifully.
Yeah.
Everyone's crying. And I came in and I did the
My old man's a doctor.
I did the pirate song from a show that we never did called Pirates and Princesses versus Sea Monsters.
Lovely
And
stuff.
I played a little boy pirate called Buckles, who's
Yes.
not very good at being a pirate. So it's like a sort of like,
You put a slap
Oh,
on
is
your
that
thigh
it?
and a patch on your eye. Swing your sword to and fro as you shout, yo ho!
yeah,
people
so
watch on the side, you
I
feel
went in
the
with this
seven
energy.
seas.
But then I sort of said at the start, I went like, oh, my go-to, because they sort of said like, oh, the character loves karaoke or whatever. And then they were like,
TikTok.
So I was like, oh, my karaoke song's Kesha's TikTok. And they were like, oh my God, we'd love to see you do that. And I was like, without a fucking
Without
karaoke
accompaniment,
track.
yeah.
So TikTok's like, it's a
Wake up
speaky,
in the morning
it's a
feeling
speaky
like
song.
P. Diddy.
And I just was like, I don't think you would have liked that either.
No.
Like, I think if I came in all guns blazing, microphone in hand, singing Kesha's TikTok after the beautiful musical theatre student before me has came, I was like, you
You could
wouldn't
have
have
heard the
wanted
bum holes
that.
tightening.
They
yeah.
would have been like, oh, she's really went for it. And I'm like, stop it fucking lying to me. Like, Kieran, I do want to ask you, so we'll talk about Two Doors Down, obviously. I don't know if you know this, but you are a TikTok noise, a TikTok audio. You and my mum.
Oh,
Do you know this?
No, I'm not on TikTok.
Yes,
It scares
so-
me. It
Have you
makes
got
me-
it?
I don't have it, but like I know that people know this. So it's
I'm a noise.
like a TikTok audio. So people
Right.
like
So people lip sync to it.
and it's you're in it for like a second.
Okay.
But you're like, what? It's you know who does a really good paracetamol? Morrison's.
Yeah.
But there's just you at the end of it going, all right.
All right.
And I love watching people do it where like they do your little bit
Oh,
where
I'd
they
love
go.
to see this.
It's
I'd love
everywhere.
to see
I mean,
Imitation Gordon.
some of them get slightly dark, where it's like people being like the nurse saying to me after like I've tried to top myself, like, you know who does a good paracetamol?
Wowee.
And you're like, oh God. But I realise like my mum has no clue about any of them. There's all
Yeah.
what's the other one? It's I don't think Weatherspoons is for me. And then my mum goes like, pint is this, pint of wine is this, and a whiskey is this, and blah blah blah. Oh, I think I'll pop in.
Yeah.
That I see everywhere. Like, yous are doing the right.
Fascinating.
You're in the. Yous have got the Gen Zs for a show about
We've become.
mum and dad's in their living room. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's an
but
odd.
It's another sign of the triumph of the writing in that it
Yes,
it
that is a
captures the universal and the mundane and,
Uh-huh.
and just the way in which everyone speaks about those like features of everyone's life, the Morrison's paracetamol and
It's so-
the drinks list at Weatherspoons. It's
Do you
like-
get stopped much? Like what? Because you live in Glasgow now.
Yeah, I mean, I get there's a full range. A beautiful
What's the best heckle that
spectrum.
you get?
I mean, the nicest ones are always just people saying, you know, sorry to bother you, didn't mean to say that, but we like you in Two Doors Down. And, yeah, then they sort of go off. And then the sort of mid-range one is, did I work with you? No, I had a guy on the train yesterday who was like, did I work with you in Stafford? No.
Like, nope.
No, Northampton? I have worked with you. And at that point, you don't
And then
say,
you go, oh, no.
I'm terribly famous, actually.
Actually, I'm an actor.
So no, you'd say I just sort of have to leave them. And then the worst one, oh my goodness. I was in Edinburgh during the Fringe and I just, you know, minding my own business on my phone. A guy taps me on the shoulder and just goes, photo.
Oh no.
This is, I don't
Like, no
understand.
hello or we like the show, anything like that. I bet he wouldn't have been able to tell you
Who you
my
were?
name.
Yeah.
First of all, no one ever knows my name, but that's fine.
You're just Gordon.
Probably wouldn't have been able to tell you that it was Gordon.
No.
And I bet might not have even said Two Doors Down because, you know, some people say, oh, we love still game. Can I get yeah, so it's fine, isn't it, really?
No, that's even like with mum, like she's weirdly so recognizable, so in the
course.
zeitgeist, especially Two Doors Down is sort of like brought her, not that I'm saying she had a failing career, but it was like brought her back up to this sort of like recognizable face. And I still get people being like, oh, so your mum is, she's like famous in that, isn't she? And I'll be like, oh, depends what you mean by that.
Sure.
And then somebody was like, no, she's that Lancey Smith, isn't she? And I was
Lancey?
like, Lancey Smith.
Lancey.
And she's in that Two Up, Two Down. And I was
Aye,
like, yep,
aye, that's
correct, sir. That is it. But that was it. The best one that you did your show before my mum at Glasgow Comedy Festival.
Yes.
And you were like, oh, is there any chance like I can come in and like watch my mum's show, like, because she was on after you. And I was like, oh, we've got one ticket, and you go, blah, blah, blah. And it's not until I sort of like sent you away that I went, oh no. I was like, that's a full Two Doors Down audience in there.
Yeah.
And you got a bit mobbed, did you not? Like drunk women just going for it.
I mean, it was, obviously you sort of go through the doors and all of a sudden, eyes turn and, Kitty! You know, and
It's the whispers
obviously-
as well. Like,
No, I don't think these women were
They weren't
whispering.
on stage.
it was not in Elaine's crowd.
No, I just all of a sudden went, what have I done?
Hey, it's good. It's good to be a minor player in something that people really enjoy because then, you know, you're not going to get any of the, I don't know, higher levels of feedback, shall we say?
Yes.
You know, that you might get were you to be more involved in it. I did the only time in my life, because I think I was, again, a local hire, was I did a convention of all things at the Bray Head.
Oh, the Comic-Con
Comic-Con. Which was a lovely
Cute.
day. And,
What, for Two Doors Down?
Yeah, for Two Doors Down.
Yeah, did Alex
And
Laura not do it as
and
well?
bobs.
I don't know.
I would say that I did not like earn them back their money. Like, a few people came up to my little desk during the day. And it was all
Was it
very-
just
all
you or
very
was there a
nice.
bunch of you?
There was a bunch of people, and everyone, you know. So there's a guy who played a bunch of the Oompa Loompas in the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. and that kind
Oh,
of
so
thing.
not Two Doors Down?
No.
Right,
It
right,
wasn't
right.
just. It was just sort of general people, and Colin Baker, the Sixth Doctor, was there.
Oh, very nice.
And
Did you fangirl in any way?
Bostrom, who played the policeman in LOLO and things like that.
Oh.
But the guy
I was
next to
in
me
that.
was a very nice guy who'd been in Lost. And he's originally from Paisley, I think.
Oh, I've
he's
never
originally
seen
Scott,
Lost.
and he was back over.
Was it Desmond?
If you say so. I haven't seen Lost. But the thing is, just to go back to my point about like how I get a really easy time from Two Doors Down fans, Lost famously had quite a controversial ending, which a lot of people did not find very satisfying. And so this guy had to spend 8 hours of people coming up to him and saying, yeah, that guy from Lost, yeah, what was up with that ending?
Oh, be quiet.
What, that didn't make any sense. Why did they have that? And so
Did
he
it
had
not
to just
end, like,
sit there very
10
politely and
years
say, well, I
ago?
didn't write it. And, maybe it should have ended differently. Anyway, nice to meet you.
Do you want an
And then-
autograph? No? Okay.
Yeah, someone
coming to
else.
berate me,
What was up with that ending?
Oh, God. I don't.
That's his life now.
I just assumed that Grado would be with you at that. That seems sort of his.
Maybe he'll be there. This
Yeah.
year. I don't
Well,
know.
Mum will not be there. She would hate
Would that be your
There'll be a
mum's
queue
worst
as long as
nightmare?
you're on.
I know, but like worse. I mean, maybe just for like
Wookiees and stormtroopers and Gandalfs all
absolutely
queuing up.
not. She would not be there.
Can I tell you a fun fact, Kieran? If you're a bit of a nerd, So Sir Ian McKellen
Indeed.
told me I was a beautiful woman.
Was this at the play that you went to?
So I went to see him and Patrick Stewart in a play. And
Waiting for Godot?
Waiting for Godot?
that was the one
Yep.
in London. And at the end, obviously, you would go and see if they were going to pop out. Patrick Stewart just went out the sneaky back entrance because he wanted a quiet night, which is totally fine.
So
But
that's
Ian,
allowed.
Ian always came out. And I was just like, I just think you're amazing. And he's like, well, you are a beautiful woman. And I went, oh my God. And
Is that
And
your?
yet you
is that
claim to
your-
have been sad in
I know.
subsequent years. I don't get it.
Is that your Ian
that's
McKellen
what my-
impression?
Oh, yes. Very very beautiful ladies.
that's exactly
Kieran is such a good impressionist. Like at audit, like I think.
Who's your favourite person to impersonate?
No comment.
Oh,
Or what do
interesting.
you think you're best at?
Oh, it's always weird, obscure stuff like the orcs from Two Towers.
I mean, that's a good
Like,
one. Is that like meets
We
back?
ain't had nothing but Maggie bread for 3 stinking days.
Yeah, why can't we have some meat?
Yeah,
That's so good.
That's so good.
I love that. Me
that
and David
rubbish.
always do that's like meat's back on the menu.
That's
boys.
the scene,
yeah,
isn't it?
we
Yeah,
do
yeah.
all
What
that.
about their
like-
legs? They don't need those.
My favourite.
all done by Andy Serkis. All of those
All of
different
the orcs'
voices.
voices.
Of the orcs. Yeah.
Is it not just the men in the suits?
No, because I think they were Kiwis, so they've been like,
Oh, I didn't know
why
that.
can't we
Get
eat
shrimp
them?
on the barbie.
Just like
Get out of the water, skippy little bitch.
That's not Kiwi.
Legal minefield.
I know legal
Oh, no, it's a
minefield.
legal minefield, legal minefield. My favourite thing to quote from Lord of the Rings is, I think it's in Fellowship of the Ring, and they go to a pub, and Merry sits down
It's like-
with a pint, and Pippin goes, "What's that?" It's like
This,
pint.
my friend, is a pint.
I want one.
No, it comes in pints. I'm getting one. Me and
Love
David do that. He'll come back with a pint and I'll be like, I'm getting one. So good.
I would say, yeah, of all like the wonderful contributions of the Scots to English-speaking culture, the line "What about second breakfast?" is really up there with "A man's a man for all that." You know,
He
terms
was
of, like,
in.
the power of it.
That's my fun fact. My Nepo baby coming in again. Oh my God, what's his name again?
Billy Boyd.
Billy Boyd. Jesus Christ.
Got really angry about that?
I
You
know.
didn't know
I was
that?
so annoyed. Billy Boyd, the year before he got Lord of the Rings, was Aladdin in the panel with my mum.
No,
Because he was like a wee guy and he could play young because he was little. And then like literally, so I remember being like, this is pre-Lord of the Rings, being like obsessed with him. Like I was, because he was like a fun guy and like was good with kids and like all this sort of stuff. So I like fancied him a wee bit, being like, oh, that's Aladdin and blah, blah, blah. Have a vivid like core memory of like talking to him like outside the Kings. Because my mum was like, this is Aladdin. And I was like, oh my God. It's like,
And he's
thought it
gonna
was
go places.
so cool. And then it was like, oh yeah, why didn't we get him back for the panel next year?
Well, he's in New Zealand.
I could be completely wrong about the timeline, but I do remember it being a conversation of being like, fuck, he's got Lord of the Rings.
That's lovely.
and I think he, Billy Boyd got married in Autumn Moore, if I'm correct.
Did he?
And Elijah Wood was at the wedding, and my friend Ailey danced with Elijah Wood at Billy Boyd's wedding.
That's a good one. That's a good claim.
Do you know
to
what
fame.
restaurant he ate in?
Were you sitting in that
I was sitting
restaurant
there
at
going,
that point?
why was Elijah? Why is he not here tonight?
Big Gloriosa guy.
Okay, so we need to wrap up slightly because I feel like we're going over time and producer Paul will shout at me. So we do a lovely Woman of the Week. We don't have, usually we get Amy to sing a jingle.
Can you sing a little jingle?
Would you- if we-
I want you to think you are an artist. You're going blind.
Right, yes. Woman of the week. Woman of the
But literally, because Amy is musical theatre, and we'll just like throw a genre at her and see if she can do a Woman of the Week jingle.
Amazing.
But we usually get her to record it if she's not here. But I
we did
forgot.
not think ahead.
Yeah. You don't have to do one, but you can if you want. I can make Emma do it.
Do you want to count me in?
A 5, 6, 7, 8.
Woman of the week. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk Woman of the week. And yes, this segment is a little piece of the format that might start to creak. But it's the Woman of the week.
Amy, you're fired.
You're blowing Amy
Kieran.
out of the water.
You are absolutely smashed it.
That was so
That
good.
was stunning.
I know. And actually, Kieran, you have our Woman of the Week. You suggested one.
If that was allowed.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
of course.
I think it's a big week for the wonderful Yorkshire lass Rosie Jones.
Yeah.
She's on the new series of Taskmaster.
Oh,
And
Did she not get voted like #1 woman in comedy or something? I saw something
hey, why
today.
not?
I don't know who voted. I don't know. I don't know what newspaper it was in.
She's absolutely fantastic, and we're not close friends, but we're on sort of hello
Work
speaking
friends.
work friends terms. Yeah, and I just think she's absolutely amazing. It's always good to see someone from Bridlington doing well, and
She's hilarious as well.
She's hilarious.
So
She's
funny.
incredibly naughty. She's incredibly rude.
I saw her at because she was a show for Glasgow Comedy Festival, but maybe one that had just like sort of was on in Glasgow that like sort of slotted in.
yeah.
And
Which
she was
in
like-
Glasgow at the time before the comedy
we were
festival
like,
even
"Fuck it,
kicked off.
come
And
in
we're
the
like, oh, you
brochure."
can come under our wing.
And she was on at Glee, and weirdly working in comedy, I'd never been to Glee before. It's almost like quite standalone.
Yeah, yeah. That's like the Cineworld, isn't it?
I went in, honestly, class, it was so good. And I was only able to stay for like the first like 20-30 minutes, but she was fantastic. And I didn't know what to expect because I'd only ever really seen her on sort of like formulaic things.
Yeah, like panel shows and travel shows and
Yeah,
things.
but she was so funny, like so good.
I think she's great at whatever she turns her hand to, and she's, both a fantastic stand-up and just, such an inspiring person in terms of like what she has to deal with as a disabled person, as a woman, like paying those basically like the 2 taxes that you have to pay.
Yeah.
Especially online, just to say anything or even to exist with those job titles. Like she then instantly has to pay a tax of hatred and death threats and all of that crap that just kind of flies at her unbidden day in, day out. And I am so entitled and privileged that I don't have to pay that tax because of, who I am and what I look like. And
We are
the
recording
fact
this, so we can well see what you look like.
Yeah.
He's a white man.
Hello.
Hello.
But the fact that she, she endures all that, she still has the strength to face it and to create and be funny and to be herself. I think is absolutely phenomenal. And
Fantastic.
so she's Woman of the Week for me.
Oh, well done. And just to wrap up very quickly, so this is what we do with guests. We've only had one other guest on, which was my pal Jen. And so you're our first proper guest. Sorry, Jen. So this is a club, first and foremost.
Yes.
So you have to tell us why you think you should be allowed in the Sad Girls Club. And then we'll get you to sign a form and pay some money.
I should be allowed in the Sad Girls Club because nothing ever makes me truly happy. I'm never really contented with the things that I have in my life because I feel that I don't really deserve them. That I'm, as I said earlier about the car, probably letting the side down, probably not repaying all of the understanding and generosity that's been given to me by better people around me. And so I can't ever really enjoy the moments of happiness that life affords because I just feel that they're about to fall apart and that everyone hates me and resents me. Is that good?
Yay! Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Kieran.
it's been a
delight.
Yes, perfect. So this has been the Sad Girls Club. Like us on Instagram, TikTok, follow us, rate us 5 stars.
Do you have any social medias that you would like
do you have anything you want
our
to plug
followers to
before you
follow?
go?
Yes, I'm on Instagram and
You're badly on Instagram. I want to come and fix your Instagram for you.
I'm really nailing Instagram at the moment.
Twitter, you're on it.
It's X now. Legal minefield.
I am also on Twitter, formerly known as the other way around. Both hashtags Kieran C. Hodgson. But what's the C stand for? You'll never find it.
Are you related to my mother in any way? Yeah, do you have any shows you want to... You got any stand-up coming up that you want to tell anybody
Nothing whatsoever.
about? Okay, great.
But
See
keep
you at
an
the
eye.
Glasgow Comedy Festival in March.
Hey. Amazing. So, okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.